Hello my friends, it's Ranger Russ from the Meigs Point Nature Center, coming to you on this chilly December day. So what we're going to be doing today, I was planning on doing some shorebird watching. It's a little choppy out here, so we're going to go along the beach for a little while, and then we're going to circle over to our Boulder Pond. There wasn't anything in there this morning, first thing, but there might be now. So we're going to look and see if we can find some of the birds. Now, I want to let everybody know we do have some programs coming up in January. We'll be doing our Women Leaders in Conservation program series. We've got, I think we've got 3 of them set. I'm working on the 4th one right now. So look for that program. That's going to be starting January 9th. That's the second Saturday in January at 10 o'clock, and then each Saturday after that at 10 o'clock. And these are women that were leaders not only in conservation, but in other things as well. They were far above or ahead of their time, I think the saying goes. All right, so I'm going to flip the camera back and show you. A gull just came over here. Looks like a little ringbill. Now the ringbill gull, again, this is going to be a juvenile gull. It takes them a few years, up to 4 years, to get the full coloring. And if you notice the gray on the neck, that will fade away. So next year I expect that bird will look completely gray and white with that little black, but not the gray, the brownish mottled color on the back of its neck. Now, I don't know how many people saw sunrise this morning. I got in and got a little bit of the sunrise. It was off in that direction there. We've got the sun is up now. There we go. It's coming through the clouds. Another thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to be looking on the beach to see if there are some things we can use to make some Christmas ornaments. So I might be stopping to look at a shell, see if we've got one that may work as a Christmas decoration. You know what works really well? I love these, and I've never had enough. I've never collected enough, but have you ever seen Christmas trees made with mussel shells? That's a blue mussel. Look at that beautiful color showing through there. Let's hold it up to the light. Is that showing through? It's a beautiful shell. So I love it when people make Christmas trees out of the blue mussel shells. That's a really neat thing to do. I think I've seen them use oysters as well. We have a lot of oysters. Maybe I could use some oysters to make a Christmas tree. Put them all like this, going around in a circle. Might work. We'll have to check that one out a little bit more. So, one that we use a lot for a lot of different things are the Jingle Shells. Look at that beautiful color in that shell. That's pretty cool. All right, I'm just seeing a lot of gulls. Now, normally this time of year, there are some birds out here. It's tough to spot them because we've got some, the waves are bobbing up and down here. I'm gonna set the camera down. So draw a straight line from that gull in front of me out into the water, and there are some, they look black, bobbing up and down. May have gone underwater. Diving ducks. They look like scoters, but I didn't get to look through the binoculars at them, so I'm not sure. Lori says that, or Judith says Lori made a shell tree. I have to ask her what shells she used. All right, whatever they are, I can't see. Oh, there they are. They're over there. We've got 1, 2, And those, they've got the white on the back. That is definitely a scoter. I'm not sure which one of the scoters it is. And they must have dove again. So the scoters are a diving duck. They will go down and they'll be catching fish. Well, I don't think there is much fish as things off the bottom. So that would be snails or crabs or other things that live on the bottom out in the sound there. Maybe an isopod or an amphipod. So they're spending a lot of time down. I really need to find some way to get a telescopic sight on this camera, or get a camera that I can connect to the phone. I think that would be awesome if you could be able to zoom in the way I can with a pair of binoculars. There are some really beautiful and unusual oyster shells. Now, if anybody saw our program on Saturday from Dr. Nick Bellantoni, words are tough today, it's a little cold. He described these oysters as getting the size of a dinner plate. So widthwise, it would be fingertip to fingertip, and lengthwise, probably like that. Gigantic oysters. These are big oysters nowadays. Okay? This is a good size for what we find washed up on this beach. Nothing compared to the size of oysters from our past. But they may make pretty decent Christmas ornament. Oh, I thought I found something. Thought it was a sponge or something, but it's a chunk of the end of driftwood here. That's pretty neat. We are still finding bunker washing up on the beach. If you remember the bunker run right off of the jetty here, we're still finding the remains that are being eaten by birds. There's some gulls up ahead of us that are picking over. Looks like they're eating. Yeah. Oh, that gull looks like it's got... and it just went down. I'm not sure what that was, but it didn't look like a fish. It's almost kind of like a squid. There's a pretty good number of gulls over here. Mostly herring gulls. Here's a couple of blue mussel shells. Grab those. These will be good. Can make something out of them, I'm sure. I'll have to see if we have a really fine drill bit up at the shop, if I can drill these to make a Christmas ornament. Maybe I'll do that. Tomorrow, we're going to have a guest presentation from one of my staff. Emily will be talking about fish feeding at the Nature Center, how that happens. All right, we're going to, actually, we'll go over the jetty and then we'll cut over and look at the Boulder Pond. I don't want to disturb all these gulls here. We want to let them be. Hello, Vermont. Wonder if Vermont has this cold front that we got. All right, let's see if there's anything on this side of the jetty. Oh, I'm smelling some dead fish. So all those gulls over there, now that I'm downwind of that, I can definitely smell some dead fish or slipper snails. They could be the snails that are making that smell as well. Oh, look, here we go. Those do not look like scoters. Let's see. set the camera down again. It's my binoculars, and we have... Oh, I think they are scoters. Oh well. I was hoping for a little different one. I don't know if you saw that. Those are white-winged scoters. It just flapped its wing and showed me the underside stripe. Very cool. 29 degrees with a 40% chance of snow in Vermont. I miss snow. We do not get snow here in Connecticut anymore. That last snowstorm had no snow here at the park, or no accumulation, and then when I got home, most of it was gone already. All right, let's take a look. Let's see if you guys can see those scoters there. Those aren't diving on us, so they're just sitting there. I was really hoping to spot a loon. Ah, there's some birds flying by out there, and those... Oh, gannets! Those are gannets! That is awesome! And it actually looks like some eiders on that rock out there. I really need to set up a scope here. Oh, something spooked all the gulls from the other side there. They're all up in the air over me. So, on those far rocks there, we've got some birds that really look like eiders. I actually need the stronger binoculars to see them. Yeah, I'm gonna say we've got 3 males, looks like 2 females, and a herring gull hanging out with them on the rocks. Very cool. We'll have to put up photos of these so that you can get a close-up look. Looks like some other bird watchers are over here. It's low tide now. You can see the beautiful sand along here. This is always fun. Once in a while you get a rock that turns up with the interesting color. That sun is starting to break through the clouds. Alright, what we're going to do now is we're going to cut across the beach and go over towards Boulder Pond. Now, I mentioned this pond in another program, and the boulder is left by the glacier. Normally I would say that this is the salt pan, although it is a larger body of water than the average salt pan. But it is not deep. It's wide and shallow. All right. I'm seeing quite a few gulls over here. Looks like it's still got ice over it too. So here we go. You should have a view of the pond now. Now in the summer, this is a great place to see our little heron. And what we have here, usually hanging out, that gull just broke through the ice and he did it again. He's trying to get on top of the ice and he just keeps breaking it. I guess just now he's gonna settle down there. I just noticed I do that. I call the ring-billed gulls, I don't call T. All right, anyway, we have a hybrid between a tricolor and a blue heron, and it's a pretty unusual bird, but he's a regular sighting here. There may be more than one, but usually we only see one at a time, and there's one lone bird that hangs out here a lot. So you can see it's still frozen over. Now this little salt pan is surrounded by a lot of Phragmites, but it's not a thick wall of Phragmites like you get in other places. The Phragmites doesn't like the salt water, so it won't grow out into that salt pan. It'll stay on the edge. Because this edge is so narrow, that's why we don't get a lot of them there. Susan is going to, is that Bell Island? I don't know how to pronounce that. To look for birds. It's a state park near the Detroit River. That sounds like fun. So here we've got, this is the drainage from our parking lot that pours out into it. And we will get more Phragmites around these drainage areas because this is where the fresh water comes off the parking lot. Oh, a whole little tiny flock of birds just landed out by the gulls. And I lost where they went down into the grass. I see a little slight movement just beyond the gulls. Those look like mostly herring gulls. There's a ringbill in there or two. Let's keep going what we find here. All right, we've got some, let's see if I've got any questions or comments. I see one about excitement for UConn basketball and me and birds. I do get very excited about birds. I get excited watching sports too, though. I love to watch a good basketball game, or any sport actually. Now that rock there, that's the one left by the glacier. I would call it a glacial erratic because it's by itself, but it's near a moraine, so I still think it's a glacial erratic. 10 inches of snow in Stratford. My goodness, that's a lot of snow. All right, not seeing any questions or comments that I missed. Oh, curious to know why. It's not okay to collect rocks. It's okay to collect shells. What's the difference? So we have a question. Curious why it is not okay to collect rocks, but it is okay to collect shells. It's actually not okay to collect shells. I use the shells at the Nature Center and have an educational permit to use them there. We do use rocks at the Nature Center as well, but for the public, it is not okay to collect rock, shells, or anything from a state park. So it's a good thing to denote. The Nature Center, actually, I think all of the state parks get permits. So we even need permits to do things within our own parks. It looks like there's an Audubon truck over here. That's probably the bird watchers that we passed a little bit ago. So another thing that it's against the rules to collect are invasives like these bittersweet. Now, I don't think I've ever seen anybody stopped for collecting bittersweet. There's a bit of trash in here too. I'm gonna have to come back with a bag and try and get out here into these bushes. This is a lot of briar in here though, a lot of green briar. But people will collect that bittersweet. It's that pretty orange with the yellow husk that opens up, and they like to make wreaths out of them, seasonal wreaths. Not a good thing though, because now you're taking those seeds and bringing them to your house, and then you're going to have to deal with the bittersweet vines that want to grow. So you're not supposed to collect those. We do cut them and remove them, but we take them out into a pile so that they don't spread. All right. So, yeah, as far as permits go, people drop off roadkill, bird strikes, that bird flies into a window or something, and they drop it off to see if we could use it at the nature center. And I do have to get permits for all of the birds. The birds are protected by the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1919, I believed. It was a treaty made with Canada to protect all birds that migrate and almost any other bird as well. It's not just migratory birds. The blue jays are protected by it, etc., etc. So many birds. But that law prevents you from collecting bird nests, eggs, feathers, any parts of a bird. And there's a good reason for the law. But we also, because we have people drop off bird nests all the time, we need collection permits for the nests. I think the nests fall under, it's one permit that just blankets all of the bird nests that we end up with in a year. Not a lot of bird activity, and this little pond being frozen over probably has something to do with it. But I do have another little spot we can check out right across the road here. So we'll see if we can get that. As I walk along this strip, I'm noticing there is a lot of invasives, a lot of honeysuckle, a lot of the bittersweet over there. There is a little bayberry. Here's bayberry. So this is a good one. But most of what I'm seeing here are invasives. If we go in and we cut the invasives out, that will give the natives a chance to grow back in. But eventually we will have to go back in and do it again. It's not something that you can just do once and say, oh, now we've gotten rid of the invasives, they won't grow back. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Invasive removal is a constant process that happens through most of our state parks. I don't know of any that don't have to deal with that as an issue. All right, so let's go over here. This is a salt pan. This comes pretty close to drying up, but it never completely dries out. And that's it over there. So we'll see. I'm not seeing any bird life. The really good thing about bird watching at Hammonasset, normally when you go bird watching, you have to be really quiet. But here, these birds, usually they're farther away because they're out in a marsh or an area. And now, here's something to talk about. I'll get back to quietness. This little walkway, looks like a walkway right here. This is not a good place to walk because this is going to disturb the habitat. Now, I'm not sure if it's a person that's created this little path or it could be animals. We do get large animals like deer that come in and out of the marsh. But this could be a raccoon, a regular route for a raccoon. But please, if you see these little side things, especially going right up to the salt pans, you don't want to walk out there because you're going to be into the bank of the salt pan, which is much more fragile. So again, at Hammonasset, you don't have to be super quiet when you're bird watching. The birds are used to cars driving by. There's always a little bit of noise. And again, usually they're going to be at a distance. If you're looking for our owls, though, the owls out on Willard Island, sometimes we get them out there, then you need to be quiet. Now, here's something we should talk a little bit about right here. This path, and it unfortunately looks like somebody drove out there with one of our park off-road vehicles. This is not supposed to be a path. The rising sea level, you can notice that brown ring over there. That rising sea level, that is the beginning of salt marsh. Those are salt marsh plants that are starting to grow up in here. It looks like some marsh hay down there, and then it's killing off the field plants that were there. We really want to cut this off and let this go to a salt marsh again, because right over here there is an actual path that we mow and maintain for people to walk through. Now, when I started here at Hammonasset, all of what you're seeing here, this entire area, was a mowed field. It was kept mowed. Every week it was mowed down. And I went to the mowing crew and asked if we could just leave this area, and there were some other sections of the park. We asked if we could let them go to a more natural field area, and they did. They stopped that, which was good for them because it just meant a little less mowing for them. And we started getting this cedar grove out here. All of these cedars popped up. Get this much more natural habitat for birds and other animals. On this side, the groundsel started coming up. Here's an animal path. Look at that, is an animal trail right there, going through the field. That's pretty cool. All right. So if you have any areas around your house, especially if you've got a really big yard, it takes a really long time to mow and you don't want to mow it, let it go to a natural field. Maybe mow it once or twice a year, but this is what it will look like. Look at all the seeds and food for our wildlife. All these grasses, they produce seeds, and the animals can come in and feed on those seeds. So here at a park, this was a great benefit because we actually cut down the mowing. Now, I didn't cut it down a whole day, but I think we took out about 4 hours of mowing from the mowing crew by letting these areas go back to nature. So I was really excited about that. All right, we're actually going to show you guys. Look, here's a bench right here that you can sit and look out at the salt pan. We'll continue our circle down. Here's another invasive. So we'll probably go in and cut this invasive out, and next to it is another one. This is multiflora rose here and autumn olive here. Cut those two out, but for the most part, these are native plants all through here, which is fantastic. And see, again, we've got this mowed area around the edge so you can walk along. Have I cut down a cedar tree for a Christmas tree? No, I have never used a cedar tree for a Christmas tree. Actually, I take it back. I did work at a natural area preserve one time, and we were cutting down some firewood, and I crushed a cedar tree, and I took the top of the cedar tree in my apartment many years ago for a Christmas tree. All right, look at this. So this is a beautiful salt pan that gets lots of bird activity. Unfortunately, not today. Look at how beautiful the salt marsh is. It's a golden color. I know people look at it and say, oh, it's all brown in the winter, but to me that's just a beautiful, there's golds and lighter golds and yellows. And it's a beautiful, beautiful color. All right, we're gonna set the camera down. We can do a quick little wrap up here. So again, keep an eye out in January for our lecture series, Women Leaders in Conservation. If you have any suggestions for women leaders in conservation, we're focusing on Connecticut at first, but we will be reaching out and spreading out to encompass women like Rachel Carson. But we're always looking for new ideas, so please send those in. If you have any ideas for programs, not lecture series programs, but programs like this, please send them in. It is getting harder to come up with original themes, but we're gonna keep on going. These programs will continue to happen at least for the foreseeable future, Tuesday through Friday at 11 o'clock. So keep an eye out for those. If you miss a program live and you want to watch it, you can go to the YouTube channel, Meigs Point Nature Center YouTube channel. You can also reach out or go to the website, meigspointnaturecenter.org. Visit the Virtual Learning Center. You'll see a list of all the programs. Actually, they're sorted into categories there. So if there's a specific category you're looking for, the best place to find it is on the website. And you can get additional content from the website as well. So I hope that you've all enjoyed this program. I hope you enjoy all the programs. I love doing it. And I will see you all tomorrow. Again, Emily will be doing a very special program tomorrow, so look for that. Until then, this is Ranger Russ signing off from Meigs Point here at Hammonasset Beach State Park.